Hey guys! So in a previous video, you guys took a look at the basics of the Smart Notebook software. In this video, we're going to look at a few more of the interactive pieces, how you can add in images, set up games, and additional interactivity. So that's where we're going to spend our time today. So I'm going to go ahead and get started, and we're going to be looking at the left-hand side of the Smart Notebook software to get started. All right, to get started, you'll see that we have 5 tabs over here on the left. So let's take a look at each one. The first is your Slides tab, where you will move your slides around. You'll see them start to build. It's much like PowerPoint and what you've seen for that. The second is a biggie. It's the area where we can see a lot of the built-in images and interactivity that the Smart Notebook software gives us. So you'll see as we take a look in this top box here is that we have several folders of content. And each time we click on a folder or a subfolder, you'll see all the items in that folder listed below. They'll be in that blue box and you can open them by clicking on the arrow. These are falling into multiple categories: pictures, interactive and multimedia, notebook files and pages, and backgrounds and themes. And these will vary depending on what folder you've clicked on. So for example, when we are at the very top of Gallery Essentials and I click on Pictures, you can see that we have a ton of pictures that we could choose from to insert into our notebook pages. It's also worth noting that there's a search box up here at the top, so you don't have to drill down into the individual categories. You can just search at the top. But within the Gallery Essentials, if we click on the plus to expand it, you can see that they have it broken down by subjects. So we can scroll down and see that we have a lot of different subjects that they cover. And if I click on, say, math, it'll break it down even further. So this is just filtering down to something more specific that you're looking for. For example, if you were looking for statistics and probability, and I clicked on that folder, you would see that I have multiple resources available to me, including pictures, notebook files and pages, and backgrounds and themes. So if I click on backgrounds and themes, we'll see that we have some grid paper here that we might want to use with statistics. You can also see that we have some pictures here where we brought in a deck of cards and some dice and so on. So Gallery Essentials is largely categorized by subject. If we scroll down a little bit more, we'll see 2 other folders down here that are worth mentioning: the Lesson Activity Toolkit and the Lesson Activity Examples. So if I click and open the Lesson Activity Toolkit, this is showing us some examples, games, and so on. If, for example, I went down into games, you can see that they're breaking it down into games. And if I went into, say, dominoes, I would see all the pictures of dominoes if I wanted to use it. I want to draw your attention up here to examples, and they are trying to give you some examples of things that you could create in the Lesson Activity Toolkit. If I click on examples, you're going to see some notebook files pop up here that have a lot of different kinds of activities. For example, a click to reveal, a color reveal, a layer reveal, ordering. If I click on one of these, let's say this one, this click to reveal, it'll insert this page into my notebook and it'll give me an example of something I could create. So it's telling me click to reveal. So if I click on this, it's going to reveal for me that answer is 4. That answer is 25. Well, because I'm in the example area, it also on this one shows me an option over here on the right that says pull. If I do, it'll actually give me directions on how I would set up something like this on my own. So they're trying to not only show you how something works, but also some directions on how to do that. Let's take a look at one more in this category. Let's look at color reveal. This one should look familiar, actually, but this is a color reveal method. Drag me to the yellow box. Drag me to the blue box. Well, I wonder how they did that. If you pull over, you can read the directions here. So this will help you to better understand how to set these items up. This is again under the Lesson Activity Toolkit. If I come down here into the Lesson Activity Examples, this might even be more helpful. When I click on this, I can see a bunch of additional notebook files and pages. If I scroll down here, for many of these, like this, here's one, a pop to reveal. If I double click on this, it'll add it to my notebook file. And here it actually gives me the directions right here in the upper right-hand corner of how to do this. Another example, let me open this one. It offers a tutorial that you can watch so that you can figure out how to do this. So a lot of the examples that we're seeing under the Lesson Activity Toolkit and Lesson Activity Examples will not only show you what's possible, but also a way to accomplish that on your own. So I just want to make sure you knew that those things were there inside. And you can take a look at those and kind of play around with those on your own. I also want to bring your attention down here where it says online resources. If I click on that, it's going to show me some links to some things that might be helpful. One I want to make sure you're aware of is the Smart Exchange. And that is a website where teachers can go and look at other notebook files that other educators have created and chosen to share with the community. So this is a little bit like a kind of like Teachers Pay Teachers, except that everything is free and everything is meant to be used with this Smart Notebook software. Let's take a really quick look at that. So this is your Smart Exchange where you can search for any resources you want by grade or subject. When you find one that you're interested in, let's say we like living and non-living things, I can click on it. It will give me some additional information about it, give you some grades, some subjects, and so on. You can choose to download it, to bring it into your notebook software, or it will export to a tool called Lumio. And we'll talk about that in another tutorial. But this you are free to use with your class because it is freely shared in the Smart Exchange by another educator. So that's what Smart Exchange is. All right, going down to the next tab, we have got an area where you can upload your own files that you want to add into your notebook presentation. We also have an area where you can use some fill effects. You can add in different colors and different patterns to your objects on your notebook page. Now lastly, down here at the bottom, I want to show you this area. This is an add-ons area for the notebook software where you can see we've got an activity builder, an image web search, video search, a lesson recorder so you can record your lessons if you would like to, smart boxes, and the GeoGebra. So I want to spend a little time on two areas inside of here. The first is GeoGebra. This is going to be, I think, particularly helpful for those of you in math. And once we click on that, it's going to show us all the available options we've got here. Again, we have a search material. So let's say I am looking here for some activity on fractions. When I click on that, it's going to show me a whole bunch of available activities that other people have chosen to share, and it is embedded here into your notebook software. So let's say I find one that I like and I want to double click and pull it over onto a blank slide. Once I do, I can see that it is now embedded onto my page and I can ask students to solve this problem. So you can see it's got a problem, it's got a hint, an answer, and a new problem I can pop up if I want to. Here, if I click on the hint, it'll show me kind of a hint on how to solve it. So once I do, I can put in an answer and go on to the next problem. So GeoGebra might be really handy for adding in math components for your students to work on either at the board or in small groups. If I click this button, it'll take me back to my add-ons page. And the other area I want to take a look at is this activity builder. Now to create a blank page to get started on our new activity, we're going to come up to the top and click the green add page icon here to give us a blank page. Then we're going to click on the activity builder icon and get started. So if I wanted to create an activity where I was helping students to identify healthy foods versus non-healthy foods, I can do that using this tool. So I am going to add in some images on this page that will help us to complete this activity. It's also worth noting that there are some instructions here on how to create this, but I'm going to show you that in this tutorial. So let me grab some images from our gallery and set up this activity and show you how we can make this interactive. Okay, now all I did was I added in 5 pictures of foods and 1 picture of a basket, and then I added in text that said place healthy items here. Any of these items can be resized or moved. Make sure you're on the cursor. You can click and drag to make them bigger or smaller, rotate them if you want to. Again, you saw this in a previous tutorial as well, but you get the idea here. All right, and you can see I did a search on strawberry and found it. Okay, so back down to our activity builder. So what we want to do here is we want to identify this object as our selected object to put items inside of. So all I did was click on this and I chose to make this object an activity object. Yes, I do. And then once I clicked edit, it's asking me which of these things do you want to accept into this basket and which of these things do you want to reject. So all I do was as I grab the items, I drop it over into the accepted or rejected. This one's rejected. This one's accepted. You can see the items start to pop up. Accepted and rejected. As much as we love cake, it is not a healthy item. So now that we have this, and I can then choose to click done, and then this will be an activity that students can go through. So to play this game, all students would need to do is grab an item, drop it. If it disappears, they got it right. If it's rejected, they got it wrong. So this is a correct answer. It disappears. Let's try another one. Disappears. Now this one's going to be wrong, so what's going to happen? And it popped it back up to the top again. Same with the cake. And then we can reset this if we chose to by reset all. So that's a really easy way to create a game based on just objects that you have on your screen. It's also worth a reminder that you can bring in your own images as well. Okay, so that's the activity builder, and we looked at a couple of different items inside the add-ons, and I'd encourage you to look a little bit deeper into those as well. There's one other thing that I want to show you, and I'm going to create a new page, so we're on a brand new page, is this option up here at the top where it says activities. This is even more activities that you can bring in to your Smart Notebook presentation. So if I click on this, what you guys are going to see is a lot of really cool interactive activities. And you'll be able to see a description of each of these activities as you look through them. So we've got a fill in the blank game, a game show, a match 'em up. Scroll on down, I have even more. Rank order, super sort, and so on. You can see here that devices are required for some of those, and I'll show you that setting here in a bit. But let's say we are going to sort items into two categories. Let's say this was the one we want to do. I'm going to go ahead and click on this, and we have two categories for our game. And this can be anything. If you were looking to do math, we could do odds and even numbers. If you were looking to do, say, ELA, maybe we have a character 1 and a character 2, and you want them to sort out what characteristics fit those characters. If you were doing history, you might want to add in World War I and World War II, and maybe there were key people or key historical figures inside of those two categories. So this would really work for anything. So let me go ahead and fill this out for us, and then we'll play the game. Okay, so for this example, I did nouns and verbs. You can see what I put inside of each of those categories. Just one note here. I almost put the word play inside of verbs, but that could be a noun or a verb. So be careful when you're setting these up that you don't accidentally add a word that could inadvertently be either category. So let me go ahead and click next. You can see here that I have several different themes I can choose depending on your audience and your grade level. Space and rock concert and jungle. I'm going to choose garden for this one and finish. Now it's going to set up our activity for us with all of our content. So you can see we've got our category names on the right and the words on the left. So if I drag and drop these, climb is a verb. It will absorb it if it's right. It'll bounce it out if it's wrong. All right, let me get another one correct. Let's say I get one wrong. It'll bounce it back for me and shake. So this works very simply, and it'd be an easy thing for students to work on where you could do it at the board, or another option over here on the right, if you see this kind of looks like a cell phone. If I click here, this is a way for students to be able to connect via their devices and be able to play this game on their own device. So they would go to hellosmart.com, put in that code, and be connected to this game. Just a couple other things to show you here. This option is allows us to add in additional game elements, a buzzer, a randomizer, or a timer. Lastly, if you need to edit this, it's this pencil in the upper right-hand corner where we can edit our categories or our theme if we choose to. So that was the activities area in the top here, where we could have added and created multiple additional activities if we chose to. So this was just an overview of some of the items that you see over here on the left, as well as the activities button at the top. I'd encourage you to dig in and really take a look at these to create really the most interactive and engaging lessons that you can for your students.